The Virginia Supreme Court is now poised to decide if the redistricting referendum approved by voters last week was lawful or whether the results should be declared invalid. The court heard arguments today from attorneys for both sides.
Now, earlier this year, the court ruled the referendum could move forward, but said they would rule on the merits later. It's a decision that has national implications for the midterms. As Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey reports, the justices seem most focused today on the definition of election.
The lawsuit that's made its way to the Virginia Supreme Court was filed by Republican lawmakers who say their Democratic counterparts broke procedural rules in their rush to redraw congressional districts and put the constitutional amendment before the voters. The referendum voters approved by 3 points in last week's special election would create a map designed to help Democrats win 4 more seats in the upcoming midterms.
The Constitution was not followed, and we hope that the court will rule accordingly.
But the attorney representing General Assembly Democrats, whose plan led to the referendum, sees the issue before the court and the GOP challenge much differently.
The challengers here are asking to overturn the will of the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
The lawsuit targets 3 issues, but the justices seem most skeptical of whether Democrats followed the timetable required for putting a constitutional amendment before the voters. A constitutional amendment has to be approved in 2 successive General Assembly sessions with an election in between. But the first vote came October 31st, 2025, just days before the November election. The constitutional amendment was approved a second time in January 2026, then put before the voters and approved. But the attorney for the GOP lawmakers told the court the 2025 election had already started with early voting in September, meaning the General Assembly approval came too late, violating the law.
Election itself has a meaning. It is it's known everyday understood meaning is the combined actions of the voters and officials to produce a final selection.
And speaking of the historical record, I'm not aware, but I may be mistaken, of an instance where the General Assembly adopted this particular process. In other words, where there's there's voting. I don't want to use the word election. It doesn't address a constitutionality per se, but I'm not aware that this process was ever used before. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is unprecedented.
A second justice also expressing skepticism, pressing on what constitutes an election, simply the day or the entire voting period. Here's how the attorney for the Democrats answered.
Both the federal courts and state courts around the country have recognized that the word election refers to a single day that takes place in general elections on the second Tuesday in November. That's a single day.
Attorneys say they are hoping for a quicker than usual decision from the Virginia Supreme Court. That's because the clock is ticking. That special election set to be certified on May 1st. In Richmond, Virginia, I'm Julie Carey, News 4.
2 other lawsuits challenging the referendum are now pending. A lower court ruled last week the special election results should not be certified, but Virginia's Attorney General filed an immediate appeal. Election officials told News 4 that Friday's planned certification depends on whether a higher court stays or delays that lower court's decision.